talk about Lemuria, and especially in comparison to Atlantis?
Lemuria is, if not the, I wouldn't say it's the first outpost of light beings that have come into our sphere. No, but it is the first civilization that we recognize in which beings of light who could manifest food, who could manifest structure, who could manifest connection to the earth and to the environment existed here on this planet. So they are a template for us of where possibly we could go, not necessarily in the physicality of them. They were said to be the first beings that influenced the Hawaiian Islands, that was their own energy that came out of the sea and was a part of land. And so they had that element of lightness. They were said to be about 7 feet tall. I've seen them, so I would verify that, but they're very tall and luminescent. And yet, unlike some of the earlier versions, they did have structure like us. So you could say a cross between the light beings and the giants in a way. And so they had an elevated level of consciousness, and they had connection to the cosmos. The back and forth energy was very manifest. But then as they settled into the material plane, manifest your food, but then that's something that's solid, it's something that you need or want, or then this thing or that thing, they began to squeeze out, let's say, the fluidity, the electric fluidity of light, of their own essence. And as they did that, they began to create structure. Who's the top guy? Who are the guys who have it? Who are the guys that not? And so they destroyed their society, and some of them moved away, which created supposedly the initial outposts of Atlantis. But the difference between them was that the Atlanteans began to use that galactic connection in a very materialistic, or let's say, they used the opening of the atom, cracking of the atom, in a different way, in a more what we would call kind of scientific way. I will make this happen because I want that. And as the Atlanteans moved along with that, even though they were using crystals, in fact, because they were using crystals, which allows the complexity of the hologram, because crystals just amplify potential. And so as they moved along with that, they too fell into a pretty much where we are today, a little more advanced than we are today, but pretty much, they cracked the atom. They ultimately used that in a destructive way because they separated out the male and female. The Lemurians were, in my vision, the Lemurian I saw, I would definitely say it was a yang energy, masculine energy, but not separated out, whereas the Atlanteans actually did an experiment of separating, just like cracking the atom, separating the yin from the yang, the male from the female, which has caused us a lot of grief, even up until today, in terms of that projection. Where is the male outside me and the male inside me and the female and so forth and so on. And so the Lemurians really became destructive because they created the them and us. They created the outside and the inside. And they became very involved in genetic manipulation, as many galactics have been. And so the galactics that they connected with were definitely not of the Lemurian variety of loving beings of light. The galactics they connected with were very, let's make some new species, let's have some more worker ants, and so all of basically most of the gods of the Greeks were simply Atlantean experiments. The centaur and all those guys, half a little this, a little that. That was Atlantean messing around until they wiped themselves out and then moved to further outposts. Easter Island and some of these other places, whereby they carried on again that galactic link, which is just a different level of consciousness or manifestation. So again, whenever we have an awareness of something like that, a template, we want to use that. We want to see where we're connected, because anything that's ever occurred here, I love the way science says, if the breath of the first human is still circulating in our environment, so if that breath is still here, then you can access that and align to it. So aligning to Lemurian energies could be beneficial. I'm going to Brazil, and I'm going to be doing an intensive called Mystery and Magic, and we're going to break bread, and we're going to play around with what we call miracles, which is just the magic of cosmic law. You know? And so you could align to that and use the legacy of the Lemurians in a way that supports your life now. Where do we need those qualities of simply bringing forward those energies, whether they're food or whatever they are, that support us all at this moment. So that civilization condensed, but we can still access aspects of that could support us now. Imagine what it would be like to just manifest all the food that we need, or the structures that we need, or connection, so that instead of this terrible agony about whether we will die or not, you know, scientifically within the next 10 years, our stem cell research will be so advanced that certainly within 20 years, we won't be doing the dying thing. We'll be redoing our organs, we'll be redoing our bodies. And so this is why we're having these conversations. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to be alive? Is it worth it to reverse aging? What would we do with ourselves? Well, we have to do something beyond where we are now. We have to be, and we are, more than we think we are right now. That was the answer to the riddle of David.